Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Chalatoff, and I'm coming to you to bring you a perimeter review because you're having a test tomorrow, and I want to make sure that everybody understands what you're doing with perimeter. I know normally we have our review days, and you did have the chapter review the last 2 days, but I noticed some areas that some of you were having trouble with. So I wanted to go over some of the problems that I saw people having to hopefully help you for tomorrow's test. So the first thing that I want to do is to go over how to find the perimeter of a shape like this. I know a lot of you were having trouble with this, so I want to make sure everybody understands how to do it. Normally what I do is I usually start at the top of the figure. For me, it's just easier to start. You could really start anywhere, but I always like to start at the top and count how many edges I have. So I have from here to here is 1, and from here to here is 2. And what I like to do is to label the figure. Now, again, you're going to be working on the computer tomorrow, so it'll be a little bit harder to do that. But maybe you can just write down, like over here, I can do it. I can put down the number 2 because that was 2 sides. Now from here to here, I have 1 and I have 2. So from here to here is 1 and from here to here is 2. So I'm going to put down a 2 here and I could add it here. So this is a way that you could do it while working on your computer. Now, I don't want to forget about this side, and I think that's what a lot of you are doing. You're forgetting the smaller sides. So from here to here is 1 unit. So I'm going to add a 1 over here. And from here to here is another 1. So I'm going to add another 1 over here. And from here to here is another 1. So I'm going to add another 1. And then from here to here, I have 1, 2. So I'm going to make a 2. And again, I'm going to add that here. So I think that's the best way for you to do it, especially if you're taking the test on a computer, just to count the sides and then on a piece of paper, just write the number down next to it like I did here. And then you have 2 here and we have a 2. We have a 1, and a 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. Now I'm going to count the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 on this side. And then I have to count this one here, which is 1, and this one here, which is 1. Now, while I'm doing this, I should be writing these down over here. So I have 4, 2, a 1, a 1. So I have the 1, the 1. Now here's another 1. So I'm going to add that over here. And I have another 1, which is on this side. Actually, there's 2. 1, 2. So I'm going to put a 2 here, and I'm going to add a 2 here. Now, what I would do before I added this all up, I would go back and just make sure that I accounted for every side. So I've got 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2 over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 here, 2 here, 1, 1, 1, and 2. And now I'm back to where I started. That's why I always like to start at the top. So now what you're going to do is you're going to count up all your numbers. So I have 2 plus 2 is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I have 20. Now, there's no label here. So if there's no label, your label would be units. That's how we would label it. If it was feet or inches or centimeters, then we would label it that way. So again, now I can go back and double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it matches. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you for problem number 2. I'm going to draw a figure. And again, it's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to label this side 11 centimeters. So I know if that side is 11 centimeters, this side also has to be 11 centimeters. My top side is going to be 14 centimeters, which means my bottom side also has to be 14 centimeters. Might be hard to tell from my picture, but that's the way it's supposed to be drawn. So now we know with perimeter, if I'm finding the perimeter, I need to add up all the sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the two 14 centimeter sides first. You can add them in any order, doesn't matter how you do it, but I'm going to add these two sides together. So 14 plus 14, 4 plus 4 is 8, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So those sides, the top and the bottom, are 28. Now I have to add the 11 and the 11. So I'm going to do 11 plus 11, and I'm sure most of you know the answer already, that it's going to be 22. And now I have to add them together. So I'm going to say 28 plus 22. And when I add it, 8 plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Now, what did I forget to do? I have my answer, and I know I'm doing perimeter, so I need my label. So if I look back at the problem, my label is centimeters, so I've got to label my problem. Okay, so that's problem number 2. So now, let's put that in a circle just so you know. Now let's try problem number 3. So problem number 3, I'm going to, let's see if I can get a shape here. Now, the only problem with my shape is it's very small. I don't know how to make it bigger, so we'll just have to work with it. Okay, so I'm going to say I have a square and one of the sides is 8, and let's say it's 8 inches. And you have to find the perimeter. So if it doesn't tell you what the other sides are, you should be able to figure out, you know that all squares have sides that are the same length. So if you know one side is 8, you know all of the other sides have to be 8. So let's label that. And to find perimeter, we have to add up all the sides. So I could do 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. Or there's a faster way I could do it. And how many of you already figured out what I could do? I could do 8 times, how many sides do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I could do 8 times 4, which hopefully you know is 32. And if I add 8 plus 8, I get 16. And if I add 8 plus 8 over here, I get 16. And 16 plus 16 gives me 32. So either way, I get the same answer. And I need a label. And if I look back, my label is inches. So I'm going to say my answer is 32 inches. Okay, so that's another type of problem. If they only give you one side and you know it's a square or it's a triangle, an equilateral triangle, which means they all have equal sides, and you can see that from the picture, then you know all the sides would be the same length. Okay, problem number 4, let's try that one. This one is going to be a rectangle. And we're going to have the long side of the rectangle is going to be 8 feet. And the short side is going to be 4 feet. And we're trying to figure out what the perimeter is. So once again, there are some things that you know about this figure even though they're not listed. We know if one side is 8 and it's a rectangle, we know rectangles have 2 opposite sides that are the same length. So this has to be 8. We can fill it in. If it's not there, we can fill in those numbers, and we know this has to be 4 feet. So once again, to add it up, I would say 8 plus 8 equals 16. And then I would say 4 plus 4 equals 8. And if I add this up, because I have 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 4 plus another 4, 8 plus 6 is 14. Carry the 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So let's make sure that works over here. So 8 plus 8 is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 20 plus 4 gives me 24. And again, my label would be feet. Okay, problem number 5. Now this one is a little bit harder because we are missing a side. So I want to make sure everybody remembers how to do that. So let's just say this is our figure, and we have, I'm going to use x as my variable. That's what we don't know. So it's x feet. This is my question mark. And then I have 5 feet here. I have 3 feet. And I have 6 feet. Okay, so in order to figure this out, the first thing you have to do is you have to add up all the sides. So what we're going to do is, and let me see, I think you need to know, in order to figure this out, you need to know what the perimeter is. So let me tell you, that would be helpful for you to know, that the perimeter, the whole perimeter is going to be equal to 16 feet. Okay, so we know we have 6 feet, 3 feet, 5 feet. We have a missing number. We don't know what this is, but we know the whole perimeter has to be equal to 16 feet. So what we're going to do is we're going to add x plus all the other numbers that we know. So x plus 5 plus 3 plus 6. So does everybody see what I'm doing? I'm just adding all the sides, and I'm putting x in there because I've got to write an equation. And we know that it's going to be equal to 16. Okay, your next step is we're going to take x, we still don't know what x is, plus, but we can figure out this part. So if I do, let's say 5 plus 3 is 8, and 8 plus 6 is 14, I can say x plus 14 equals 16. So now there are a couple ways I could figure out what x is. I could either count up from 14 to 16, so I could do that, and I know 14 plus 2 is 16. I could also, and sometimes it's easier to do it this way, say 16 minus 2 equals, I'm sorry, should be 16 minus 14 equals 2. And that's how we get x equals 2. And we would have to label with feet. So you can either count up from this number to get your answer, or if it's a bigger number, this one was easy because it was 14 and you only had to add 2, it might be easier to take the total and subtract this number to find that missing answer. Okay, the next slide that we have, and this is going to be our last one. I'm going to change colors because I'm getting bored of my green. This is going to be problem number 6. Here we have to draw a figure